Welcome to Thursday night. It's Tim and Joel. Call it in the ring. I'm Tim.
I'm still Joel.
It's been a while since we've done that. We're going to talk about wrestling.
About a week? Is that what we do here?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay. Well, I mean, I guess we could do that. Did you enjoy the week in wrestling?
Yes. This is pretty good. Had its moments. Ups and downs. Roller coaster of emotion.
Well, it's been a great show. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next
Good
week.
stuff.
I'm so glad we're here. All right, let's kick it off
I was
real.
so tempted to switch to the thanks for watching scene just then.
Like, subscribe, see you later, bye.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it for real, shall we?
All right, yeah, start.
Folks.
You start.
All right, let's get the plugs out of the way. First of all, you can always give us some tip jar love over at streamlabs.com/TimandJoelPod, because that's how we make money until we get this thing monetized. And how do you help us get monetized? You watch us, you subscribe to us, and hopefully you like these videos too, because this is what we do, right? And by the way, you can see us every weekend on PW Unlimited. We do our weekly draw. We talk about the week in wrestling, or the week ahead in wrestling. We also preview any pay-per-view. That's right.
Any pay-per-view, Joel? Any pay-per-view? Any pay-per-view.
Any major pay-per-view.
Yeah, any major wrestling pay-per-view. I also want to clarify.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's what we're going to sorry. And finally, just to get it out of the way, Fightful Gaming, I am working with them on twitch.tv/Fightful Gaming. I see Jeremy Lambert's here trying to take my mind off of things. But yes, go to twitch.tv/Fightful Gaming. Subscribe to them. Subscribe to me, twitch.tv/Joel Pearl. We'll get the thumb plugs out of the way afterwards.
Thumb plugs out of the way. I got my thumb
plugs
plug.
out of the way. Get your thumb in. All right, Tim. We watched Raw.
Yeah.
We went through Raw. We saw record Monday night no football rating Raw peak. Everyone's happy. And then you get to 11:55 and Goldberg lights the wrestling world on fire. We see Goldberg show up and, has a lot to say to Drew McIntyre, who said literally nothing to incite this tirade from Goldberg about lack of respect in the back. After Drew had literally spent the last God knows how long posing with Hogan, talking about how he loves the legends, all the nice things.
Being a good guy, like not wanting to extra kick Keith Lee, even though Sheamus really wanted him to. It was kind of out of nowhere. And then I thought, wait a minute. What does Goldberg do before every match? Slams his head into a locker. Things are starting to make sense. And what
did you see?
And then
what does he also do?
Oh yeah, a little bit of roughage. He comes out, he punches the air. He's far too close to the pyro. Who knows what kind of fumes those are putting off? It's like the lead paint chips thing. You know, when you're riddled with toxins, maybe everyone and everything starts to feel like disrespect.
That's right. And you know what? If you felt a little disrespected from this whole thing, you're not alone, because not only is the wrestling world a little bit in shambles over whether or not Goldberg should be in a WWE ring, two things to keep in mind. He's signed until 2023. He's got 2 matches each year until that happens. Sure, why not? Does it have to be for a WWE championship match? No. Should it be? No. Are there other people he could put over? Yup. But this is what we get. And then, by the way, going back to that finish on Raw that felt very weird and just not really planned out, it's because, well, we'll go to Fightful Select and we'll read a little bit from them. If you thought the way that Goldberg and Drew McIntyre ended things on WWE Raw was off, there's a good reason for it. The show fell behind early in the night after scripts were already late for the show, and had the 2 stars pressed for time in the Raw main event segment. There was supposed to be supplemental action and lines that helped make sense of Goldberg's promo on Drew McIntyre disrespecting the legends. As they were facing a time crunch, they've been set up quickly. Goldberg delivered the lines as scripted. Whew, you don't do that. And then they didn't make any sense. Ad-libbing had to be done by McIntyre, which includes the fighting his dad line.
Which was, my God, such a good, he's like, first of all, never said anything. Don't know where that's coming from. Honestly, he saved it for me, because it wasn't. I had heard that it wasn't good, and I was watching it after the fact, and when it came up, I was like, okay, it could have been worse. Goldberg does seem unhinged in it. Maybe it's just a little bit of projection. You know, he's getting on in years. He's watching his children grow up. Maybe he's starting to feel a little bit of that like midlife crisis. They have a lot of ads on American television for like testosterone pills and things like that. Maybe he's been taking some of those and they're messing with his brain a little bit and he's just out to fight. Every young man is disrespecting him, you know? He's getting a little bit miserly in his old age, a little bit angry and ornery.
Are you suggesting that Goldberg needs or takes Nugenics?
No.
That he needs to team with Frank Thomas and Doug Flutie and whoever the other guy is that I can't ever remember, because Doug Flutie we all know. But is that what you're trying to say? Are you trying to say that Goldberg needs Nugenics?
I'm just saying that he's gotten to a certain age and it's the target demographic of that horribly named product.
Meanwhile, guess who shows up on Raw Talk?
Mustafa Ali, because I watched.
Yes,
Mustafa I watched Ali it. I watched Raw Talk for once. Just this segment.
A scathing promo. Scott's a scathing promo.
Great.
The one that you would never expect, in that he completely just tears into the Legends Night, tears into people going and taking in the spots of the youngins, and it was perfect. Because as he's saying all this, Charlie Caruso, poor Charlie, who's sitting in the worst possible seat in the house with the gimmicks in her ear, being told by someone in the back, no sell, no sell. Talk about how, you know, the applause for the Legends was so great. And she had to say, wasn't it great how they all applauded for Hulk Hogan? And meanwhile, we're like, we know they pipe in that sound.
And he said it, which was what surprised me. Like, was that planned?
Yes.
Did they do this? Are they just reading the comments and being like, you know what? You're the voice of the neckbeards we don't like. Like, is that what they're trying to say with this? Is Mustafa Ali a stand-in for disaffected young people? Like, are most people supposed to side with Vince McMahon? Is that what he thinks is happening by running that promo?
Yes. I'm sure there's someone who produces Raw Talk must think that this is okay, that we can break the fourth wall and that we can do these shoot style promos, because it's okay. They let them kind of go a little further.
Yeah, and I mean, like, it's a small audience, but like, I don't know. I think they might be overestimating how much of a minority opinion that is. Like, I don't know. Yeah, and like this ratings bump is going to be kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? Because they did it on the end where there's no Monday Night Football this week. Like, that's going to make them think that the cause was the Legends Night, which is going to cause them to lean harder into the nostalgia thing, but it's just good timing. So,
yeah. As pointed out in the chat, it was fan service by Ali.
Yeah, that's absolutely what it is, but it's like, it's risky to do that, right? To kind of crap on your own product within the product rather than just subtly over time changing the product.
Think about who's watching Raw Talk.
True, because you're watching it on an online platform, which is a specific group subset of that audience. Definitely not the television audience. So,
no.
Yeah, okay, it makes sense. It makes sense.
Exactly.
It's so, man, like, there were no real noteworthy. Like, the legends that appeared would not have popped those ratings because they didn't announce Goldberg. So,
so can we go back for a second? And I talked about this on the Wrestle Kingdom Twitch stream on night 2. And I said, we went on a digression, and I said something about how there were certain legends that just didn't show up.
Yeah.
And so
all the legends that
were promoted. Yeah. So here were the ones that no showed or just were never there. Kurt Angle, Carlito, Candice Michelle, Michael PSAs, Hillbilly Jim, Ivory and Jacqueline. I'm sure there are a couple others, but the point is, first of all, Carlito kind of shocked everyone. Everyone was expecting, or not expecting, everyone was excited for Carlito.
Yeah.
And it turns out he may have never been asked in the first place. It's actually quite possible that someone jumped the gun and promoted him before he even wanted to go there.
Yeah.
And Candice Michelle, odds are she wouldn't wear a mask if she came to the show anyway. So that probably disqualified her from the
when
show.
I said the interesting ones, I did disregard her. But yeah, I was excited to see Ivory and Jacqueline, and we didn't see either of them.
Right, and we got to see Molly Holly, and we got to see who else was there? Tori Wilson was there, and there were a lot of really cool, like Tatanka in full gear, which was hilarious and sad at the same time. He's jacked.
That's what.
Jacked.
Yeah. Still, but man, I don't know. It was kind of weird. Is Mark Henry actually hurt? Sad Scooter Mark Henry getting bullied by Randy Orton was pretty funny. I'll give him that.
It seems to be that he is hurt. I don't know what the situation is, and no one's kind of talked about it since they saw him with the scooter, or at least maybe it's not their story to tell. But let's say in a world, let's say that he wasn't, and he just saw the scooter in the back and decided, this could get me some really good sympathy. I think that's amazing.
That's such a good idea.
I would have done that anyway.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because roll away, old man.
I know Mark Henry had I think his heyday after the 8th time they tried to build him up. Because when I was watching wrestling, I had stopped when he got his world title run eventually. And for me, he was always this guy who just looked mean and couldn't cut a promo to save his life and was mediocre in the ring. And they kept trying to give him title runs. I think he got more shots than anybody I've ever seen. And he just could never really do it. And then eventually something finally worked. But I had already departed by then. So
So you never saw the salmon jacket?
No, no.
You never saw that? Oh,
no.
Okay.
I got World's Strongest Man. He was in his singlet. I think he had, who was his man? It was Teddy Long, one of his managers for a bit. Yeah. Yep. But he was always a mute because he was terrible at promos. So I don't know. And Chocolate Thunder or whatever it was.
Sexual Chocolate. I
saw that one.
So if you go back, do watch the salmon jacket promo. If you haven't seen it. It was a retirement promo that he was cutting. He calls out John Cena, who was the champion at the time, comes to the ring, and it's a wonderful, wonderful, fake out. So just go and watch that. That's it. Just honestly type in Mark Henry salmon jacket, and I swear to God, it's the first thing that'll come up.
He must be the best dude because they gave him so many shots, and it worked eventually. But he must be an awesome dude backstage because a lot of people do not get so many chances.
Yeah, and he stayed with the company. Mm-hmm. He stuck through it and could have been fired a bunch of times, but tried to do better each time, and also praised McMahon at every single, any place he could, any venture he could, he praised Vince McMahon. I get it. So that's kind of where Mark Henry, he's got a job for life now.
Yeah. Well, good for him, man.
Well, I mean, so we went back. We were talking about the legends, and Tori Wilson comes. And Tori Wilson shows up and she says that she brought out, who was it? It was Ariana Grande and one of the Jenners, I think, or the Kardashians, and then Cardi B. And out goes Angel Garza trying to find Cardi B. Cardi B? Cardi B? Are you in here, Cardi B?
Cardi B? He didn't even say her name right. It was a weird inflection. But
and all of a sudden, we had the boogeyman.
He
Cardi B.
Cardi B.
Yes.
Cardi B.
Yeah. So then Boogeyman comes out and blah, 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 24/7 title changes hands and R-Truth has it again. Whatever, fine. And then Cardi B starts tweeting because people are tagging her on Twitter. And she's like, WTF, this is not how my WWE debut was supposed to happen. Vince McMahon count your effing days. And, people are laughing and just being like, it's fun. This is cool. Cardi B's talking about wrestling. People were asking, who's your favorite wrestler? What do you think about this person, that person? She loves Sasha Banks. And people were like, oh my God, Cardi B's favorite wrestler is Sasha Banks. Great. Awesome. And then Lacey Evans got in on the fun. She says, careful what you wish for, you nasty. We aren't Nicki Minaj. You'll get sent home with more than a busted eye. And then a couple of emojis. To which Cardi B responds, quote, a white woman can never put fear in me, sweetie. Got me effed up. I was showing love to WWE the whole night yesterday, and I don't know where the F you came from with your unnecessary bullshit. Wonderful.
I don't know how to take that. I'm honestly confused by Cardi B half the time, so I don't know.
Listen,
could be a feud at Bruin, or she just missed the point entirely, or doesn't actually watch WWE. Because if you do watch WWE, you'd recognize Lacey Evans because she's been on TV plenty. But
right. Well, it got plenty of people talking about it. Some people are just like, oh my God, Lacey, shut the hell up, and getting a lot of heat and blah, blah, blah. But the question becomes,
It's a gag.
Yeah, and if in March Cardi shows up and does something with WWE, then Lacey was told to do it, and she did a really masterful job.
I honestly, I wouldn't be surprised. Like, Cardi B would do it, based off of what little I do know of her and just seeing like her like public profile. I think it makes sense. Like, it would make sense to bring her into WWE for a little cameo.
Oh, it'd be huge for them.
Yeah.
So my big question is, Tim, what did you like about Raw, and what would you rebook from Raw?
Okay, so Keith Lee versus Drew McIntyre was excellent. It felt kind of short to me, but I guess because they were running low on time, they kind of sped it up. It was hard hitting. Scary moment when Keith Lee took that like corner bump on the table, but I get, he seems fine. I liked Miz TV. This is probably where they lost time. Yeah, look at that face. That's what I live for.
The hell's wrong with you?
I liked Miz TV because the New Day are awesome, and they did a great job. When they took over, that's hilarious. That's a good bit. I enjoyed it. I didn't mind it at all. I thought it was fine. I like the Miz. I like Morrison just like, I'm on a talk show. Like, I like him playing the Dumbo. He's a good guy. I love John Morrison. Like, he's a great guy, great wrestler. Well, I don't know if he's a great guy. I shouldn't say that. People keep surprising me, but.
Okay, I'll give you that. Morrison is having the time of his life, and him being stupid and on a talk show was funny. I give him
so
that.
Good. Yeah.
I really am sick of hearing correct. I'm not going to yell it because I just don't want to wake up my neighbors.
Yeah.
But yeah. I can really go without that. So yeah, that's my only other side. Was there anything else from Raw that you really liked?
Really liked? No, like it wasn't. It was a serviceable show. It was good to see. I mean, what we said would happen. Angel Garza got the 24/7 championship. He just didn't get to keep it for very long. I guess our truth is
he never was
50-time 24/7 championship. He called the 24/7 title beautiful, which was a comedic shout out because it's one of the ugliest things they've ever made. So.
All right, I'll give you that. I liked Orton versus Hardy. I enjoyed Grand Metalik getting another win.
Yeah.
I just honestly, it was one of those matches where Jeff went up to Randy Orton and was just like, "Do anything you want to me. I don't care what you do. You know what? Grab my ear again. Take your finger and just grab at it. Okay, just don't worry about it."
So here you go. I don't like Jeff Hardy as much now that I have to hear him talk. It makes me sad every time. Makes me real sad because it doesn't work for me. I liked 90s Jeff Hardy when they were just like, when he was a kid. Made more sense to me. And as a guy with tunnels myself, the tunnel thing doesn't work for me because if you really wanted to hurt someone with that it would just rip immediately. It's just silly. It takes me out of it because I know like pulling back on that skin. No, it would just tear like that, man.
No tunnels of fun for Tim.
No, it takes me out of it. It was a fine match. It wasn't like I just wasn't that excited for it because I don't. Jeff Hardy excites me nowadays when he accidentally nearly kills himself, but it's also scary. It's like that type of, oh man, you used to be so confident in this. Now I'm terrified every time you go out there. But like as far as like Randy Orton and him in ring, it's just it's I don't know. It's not the same as it used to be. So it feels like just a wrestling to build on Mustafa's promo. Wrestling has the same problem with all of society right now in that the older generation will not retire. And there are no jobs for the younger generation because that retirement isn't happening because of a wide variety of factors. But
there it is.
Yeah.
What are we going to rebook? We know what we're going to rebook first. And that's Brother.
Yeah, the Hulkster.
Yeah. We don't need to go too deep into it. Everyone knows he's a racist piece of shit who has never apologized, never cared enough to do better. And earlier this week, and I know we'll get deeper into it. Earlier this week, he went on a media scrum and there was the comment that came out. Hogan said, "These people are cold to me. These wrestlers are cold to me because they think I'm going to take their spot."
No, you stupid old
No,
ignorant man.
no, he's not. I'm sorry. This is one time where I have to say it. He knows why.
Yeah.
He knows why, but he's not going to say, he's not going to tell you, I'm a dumb old racist man who never apologized. He's never going to own up to it.
Fair.
He did it because saying what he said was going to get a lot more engagement than anything else he said.
It's just the saddest thing.
I truly believe that.
Like, I don't even need a public apology. Like, it's just literally because he apologized in the back, and literally no one who heard it was like, no, that's not an apology.
He didn't apologize. The only thing he apologized for was getting caught.
Yeah, which is like, there's just a lot of hate in his heart, and like, I don't need him to be canceled or whatever. Like, I would prefer not seeing him on TV again for the same reason. I don't need to see most of those people who were on last night on the TV. I don't care. I'm not as big nostalgia guy. Different strokes. Lots of people are into it. It's fine. But like, there's no remorse there. And like, that says something, and that as a company says something, you know, like they should, the people who work for them recognize that. And it's hurtful. And there's no real effort to have him apologize. And there's no, like, he's never going to make that deep, real apology because he doesn't care. Because he is hateful in his heart, and it's depressing. So until there's any resolution, like if he were to make some sort of deep, real apology, fine, he can be back on TV. But that's never going to happen because that's not who he is. So.
Yeah, it's not going to change anything. And because he's welcome back to WWE with open arms after 3 years and never apologizing, that's good enough for him, brother. So we open Raw with the H phone, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, this is the dumbest possible thing you can open with, other than Miss TV segment, which we got after that. Oh. And I'm sitting there like, what is the H phone? Really, what is the H phone? It doesn't autocorrect the A. You know, we'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, exactly.
And then the Hogan and Drew segment, didn't really care for that. I didn't need Drew posing like Hogan. I wanted Hogan posing like Drew if we're going to do it that way.
Well, that's the thing. I'm also not 5 years old, so I don't, like, that stuff isn't going to work on me. I don't know. Yeah. Hogan's character has always been corny as hell, so.
Worked in the 80s, and here we are today.
Yeah,
even when he was Hollywood Hogan. Even when he was Hollywood Hogan, to be perfectly honest, there are so many interviews with Nash being like, we had to tell him to just shut up and hang out in the back, or we would do all of our things like Nash and Hall. We do all of our things off to the side and then let Hogan go brother somewhere else because we just wanted to be totally different from that brother shit.
Yeah, I feel like he's
perfect.
He's so self-absorbed.
Yep. Well, what's not self-absorbed is leaving a like on this video and subscribing to us. Hey, did the thing? Streamlabs.com/Tim and Joel Pod if you want to give us a little bit of tip jar love. Yeah, okay. Hey, did you watch Impact?
I did watch Impact. Yeah.
There's really only two things I want to get on, and that is that closing segment, that Good Brothers and Kenny segment. Good. I didn't love the beatdown. I don't like a studio light.
Yeah.
That studio light outside of the bus as they're doing the beatdown, and it's right there in front of you, and you notice it, and you're just like, oh, they really didn't try.
I'm like, man, what are they doing to Rich Swann? Like, I hope they win the match because, like, this is their guy, and he just came off as like a dork, right? Like, he's just like, come on, guys, let's go get him, and then they get their ass whooped. It doesn't work. Yep. Like, this is your show.
Yeah, it was a little strange, but you know what? It's 2 weeks before Hard to Kill, or I guess it's almost a week before Hard to Kill because that's on the 16th. So it's a week until Hard to Kill. That's nuts.
Yeah, and there's also I don't like how they do this.
And Genesis is this weekend. And
yeah.
I have it here that we'd run down the card. I don't want to run down the card because it's just that Ultimate X Cup, which is great. It's going to be a fun night of tournaments action, and that'll be that. So that's Genesis. But yeah, the only other thing was Susan. And I'm so excited to watch that. Susan the
Very funny. Yeah. Just like, not quite. Hello, I'm Susan. Okay. Love this. There's also Jordan Grace versus Jazz, which is interesting. Clunky way to get there, right. But like that'll be a good match. I'm looking forward to that.
And you and I talked about this on other episodes that we're going to see those two eventually fight in what will probably be a loser leaves Impact match
Mm-hmm.
because Jordan Grace's contract is up in May, I believe, or sometime before the summer. And Jazz is on, I believe, just a per appearance. So
Yeah,
you could
of
do
course,
a
yeah.
retirement loser leaves type of thing that I think would have really high stakes. Do that at whatever the big summer show is going to be for them. Is that Bound for Glory? Is that Slammiversary?
I can't keep track.
Slammiversary is usually in July, I think.
Yeah.
I can never remember. But yeah, so that's Impact. Again, with Susan, the one thing I want you to do is go check out her social media. It is hilarious, the transition she's made. She's like saying hi and then trying to post a photo, but not posting a photo, and then trying to talk to Twitter. She's very Susan the Karen. So go back, go to Sue Young's Twitter, and it's very fun.
That's excellent.
All right, Wednesday we got to NXT and AEW, everyone's favorite part of the week. Let's first, because we just talked about the Good Brothers and Kenny, let's talk about AEW. Let's talk about how that show ended, because holy crap. Unexpected. Less than 2 weeks going into Hard to Kill. It was time to see a little bit more pickup in the Impact world. Wow. What did you think of Good Brothers coming out and attacking Kenny and everything that kind of surrounded that? Sorry, not attacking Kenny, but attacking
Moxley.
Yes, attacking Moxley with Kenny.
Yes.
And then, of course, the reformation of the club that is a Bullet but can't be officially named so, but apparently can, but who knows? But they can do this. So what do you think?
I thought it was cool. I mean, I've never really followed all that stuff, so I'm less thrilled about it, but it was cool. Weird trajectory that the Young Bucks have taken, right? Because they went from we're heel to fans to heel. Maybe just keep them heel on the way up, but it's good. It was a good turn. Don't fully understand why Brian Pillman and that other guy who looks like Jungle Boy were out there.
It's Griff Garrison, by the way.
It's Griff Garrison, thank you. Oh yeah, who is Griff Garrison?
Who the F is Griff Garrison? You know what? No, this is, I'll give it this. If you're going to have anybody try and hop the barricade, and make it someone young and stupid who makes some sort of impact. They did the same thing with and then at the beginning of the night, we saw the same thing with Luther and Serpentico, where they came out and they got into that match. It's still another situation where they were trying to get themselves off of dark, or at least become part of the show.
Which is good. And it makes sense for me because they have been doing what's their tag team called? The Varsity Blondes.
Yes.
They have been trying to make an impact, and they have told that narrative. So that's unfair to really criticize that. I think it does make sense. The Serpentico thing I have other thoughts about, but it's because they really went ham on that Go Big show. I don't know what their contractual obligations are, but damn, they really want me to watch that show. There is no way I'm going to watch.
It's not the contractual obligations of AEW. It is the ego of the person sitting behind the chair.
It's always that.
Go Big show.
It's not. Who cares?
It's
what is that show? There's another show that is this show, but actually, it's like America's Got Talent. That's all this is. What is the point of this?
That's all these shows are. Everything is basically another ripoff of another show.
Oh man, but this one's got a dumb name and a mediocre panel of judges.
Well, going back to Bullet Club, I will say this: Tama Tonga from New Japan, of course, member of Bullet Club, took to Twitter and said, at this point, it's only the Bullet Club when the Tongans are in it. Anything else is just guys that wish they were back in Bullet Club.
Hilarious. Okay, I don't know a ton about New Japan, but correct me if I'm wrong. Their stables are very large. 20 guys in them sometimes.
No? That's kind of pared down a bit, but there's definitely at least between 5 and 8 guys at a time, except for the Empire.
Have there historically been 20 members of the Bullet? Have 20 people rotated in and out?
Oh yeah. I want not at one time. There's usually there have been 8 to 10 at one time.
At any one given time, but they cycle people in and out, and they're kind of consistent factions or little gangs, I guess. So that makes sense to me. Let them,
and they still own the name.
I'm guessing these 5 guys were all in the Bullet Club at the same time. Is the bit.
Yeah, so Kenny was a leader, and then Good Brothers actually weren't at the same time. So as Kenny and the Bucks were in at the same time, Good Brothers were in at the time when it was still Balor and AJ. So Balor was the original.
That's what it, because AJ,
Yeah, so this is what I'm saying. And now WWE is just going to turn around and grab AJ and grab Finn and grab Adam Cole, who were all leaders, and they're going to grab Jeff Jarrett, who was once member of Bullet Club, and they're just going to put them in a faction together.
I mean, that's cool. Yeah, like for those of you who know, and this is special, enjoy. It doesn't. I don't know, so it doesn't do it for me. It's fine. I like all of these wrestlers individually, so curious to see where it goes.
I'm also curious because you saw Good Brother show up, and there's actually a lot more story that you can tell outside of just the Moxley angle or the Griff Garrison and they're not going to have a match with Griff Garrison and
No,
Brian.
But
But what they did with Pac and Penta and then Butcher and Blade in the back, that was actually really, really interesting. It actually makes you feel like they could do more with just those guys in the ring and then the 4 men that were outside of the ring.
yeah,
So
and like
I want to see them more from that.
what I like, and it happened so quick, but like it really felt like Eddie's got a gang of guys now that are acting as muscle for hire, which is like a cool part that they could add into what's going on in AEW. I just feel like some of the storylines are getting kind of messy with AEW. It's not as fluid. Stuff's getting a little bit messy. I don't know. There was there was no Dark Order this week whatsoever. While they take the time to...
They did the segment in the back with Ty Conchi giving her promo before next week's match against Serena Deeb, and it looks like they're going to shift Dark Order into a face group, which makes perfect sense.
Yeah,
and it looks like they're going to lean into Ty Conchi joining Dark Order, which is great. Yeah. There are so many things that I'm sure you could have done with Will They or Weren't They, but now that Dark Order has dealt with so much,
yeah,
it makes perfect sense just to turn them and make them a face faction until they don't have to anymore, basically.
Well, and like on BTE, they are like comedic, and they have been like as a through line. So you're like, if you want them to be a serious menace on the show, you have to like BTE is part of this world. It seems like I don't know. They're things are mixing and blending, and it's man. I don't know. There's so much potential, and I hope it goes the right way, because I feel like this week it kind of lost its way in terms of the narrative part of it. Same thing by saying like they reset all of their stats.
That's an annual thing. They did that last year too.
Yeah, I didn't realize. It's odd. That's not a thing that happens in other sports that I'm familiar with, but.
Well, no, I mean, think about it. It does in hockey, it does in football. Every season it renews.
Sorry,
right?
That's not combat sports, but team sports, yeah.
Tim is sports centric.
Yeah, I know it's sports. I'm getting whiplash, man.
Moxley with a barbed wire bat and Moxley with that promo earlier in the segment, both really, really fun to watch. I think I was really enjoying Moxley just being, especially after the day that had happened in the US, him just being like, I have no tolerance for shitty people. Everyone was like, preach. Yes. That's all you need in life. It was good. Just timely. Live by that. Yeah. So I was a big fan of that. Wasn't really a big fan of seeing Snoop do the Snooperfly smash splash.
Man, and the degradation of Serpentico. He's not allowed to wrestle anymore. He's got to stop, right?
I just love how Snoop got up to the third rope and was like, bring him closer, bring him closer. And then eventually had to yell it to Cody and to whoever the hell else was, I forgot who he was with. But yeah, just had to be like, bring him closer, bring him closer.
I mean, he's a 49-year-old perma-fried dude. It looks like he's mixing prune juice with his gin and juice nowadays. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. Someone asking, by the way, if you're wearing hearing aids in the chat.
Yes. Yeah, I've shouted so much my eardrums have blown out.
Yes. If you've ever looked, Tim and I are both wearing in-ear monitors. If you ever look on WWE TV or any other ring announcer, they're usually wearing these guys.
Yeah, they're usually also known as one, but yeah.
Yes. But we're stereo guys. No, there's no heat on Snoop. Let's just get that out of the way. He partnered with Undertaker for some apparel with WWE, does Sasha Banks' theme song, but no, the Snoop's getting his money, man. He's getting his money. Man. He's got the Go Big show with his best friend Cody on TBS starting next week. No, it starts tonight. Oh my God, that's much worse.
Who cares? Watch this. Watch anything else. Don't watch the Go Big show. I'm gonna counter what Cody brought into this world.
Yeah, exactly. And it was fun, but an awkward segment backstage with Hardy and Private Party and Snoop. But I really like that they're continuing the story between Matt Hardy and Private Party about the contracts from BTE. So I'm a fan of that. It was fun.
No, it was good. They made the dig at WWE, which is kind of funny. Seriously, did you get a look at that juice? What was that juice? It was prune juice.
Wasn't cranberry?
It was pretty brownish. Maybe it was just the
Well,
cameras. I don't know.
they weren't very lit well.
Yeah.
Oh, lit very well. You know who was lit very, very well was Wardlow. Lit, getting that clean as a sheet victory over Jake Hager.
They did such a good job with that, and then the backstage segment with MJF and Hager as well. I thought they did really well. Where he came in and he's like, "You go get punched," but we're cool. So like,
yeah. Not my favorite match ever, but I was really happy that they actually had Wardlow go over and it be a clean, and then Hager doesn't have to be angry and attack him afterwards. He took the loss. He was pissed off as he should be, and then walked to the back. Wardlow started going. It was just. Everyone was both supportive and it was still a little tense, but at least they got it out this time. Next time, it'll probably be a lot bigger and maybe with a lot more people. And there's a lot more story to build in this, I think.
No, I felt good. It was solid. Like, and the match was pretty good. Like, I actually enjoyed it. I put it up there as like, I didn't feel like this week's AEW was particularly strong, which I mean, I didn't really expect it to be, but it had its moments for sure.
And again, going back to Wardlow, can he cut promos? Yes. Can he cut live promos? Not yet. And that's something that comes with repetition. That's what you get when you just throw him out there, tell him to do it, maybe do it on dark where it's not as widely viewed. That might be a good spot for him to start and just build it from there. Yeah. What about the weigh-ins? What did you think of the weigh-ins for Darby Allin and Brian Cage?
Thought it went how it should have, right? For them to build this. It's good to see that, like, there is a legit 100 pounds difference between the two. I need somebody to explain in a little bit more detail why Darby Allin and Sting are buddies, and why the four enormous men in Team Taz are afraid of Darby Allin and old Sting with a bat. But
well, first of all, Sting is clearly Darby Allin's sponsor.
Like for AA?
Yes. You guys thought I was going to say his father. No. They're going to really lean into this. It's going to be like Darby was a hardcore something-holic.
A heroin addict.
Sure, whatever. And Sting is a
narcotics
sponsor. Yeah. That's what they're going to do. No, it's not his father. It's just someone who wants to see the next. This is the thing that AEW does, and they actually do it better than WWE will ever do. And that is when you bring in the older folks, the old wrestlers, you pair them up with the young ones in order to get the young ones over. You see it with Jake and Lance Archer. You're seeing it with Sting and Darby Allin. You're seeing it with Taz and his entire freaking team. That's what you do. That's how you do it.
Exactly. And like, Cody's not one of the older guys yet. But you can see that at least he's not going to be a Vince McMahon type, in that, like, you can see the aging fears in the product with Vince McMahon and know, like, who he is as a dude and see how it plays out. Like, Randy's out there bullying old men, and who's going to come back and fight him? Old man Edge, I guess, is going to, like, to defend the honor of the elderly. And, like, Goldberg's out there cutting nonsensical promos. Whereas in AEW, the elders are providing counsel. They're the sages. They're helping the young guys out. They're building them up. They're coaching them. I guess Snoop is among their ranks now. For his years of pro wrestling proficiency.
Years of pro wrestling. And that's what you just touched on something that is like A1 advice in wrestling, and that is, you leave the business better than you found it. That is what wrestling has been based on for years in the back. And that's what they're trying to do with AEW. When they bring in legends, when they bring in people who used to be wrestlers, they are coaching the younger talent to make the business better than the way they found it. They are giving back. Yeah, they're making money on it. But you see people come in and actually make a difference, except for Tully Blanchard, unless he's with FTR, because when they put him with Sean Spears, it didn't really go over so well. But the point is, at least they're trying.
Yeah, exactly. And, you can, there's a lot of stuff I find grating about Cody's position there. But, like, in terms of this thing, I think they're doing it the right way, if he has that much control over it. But anyway.
Are we upset that Sheeta is not a vampire?
Yeah, I'm mostly just upset. Abaddon's not doing it for me.
This wasn't the match for her to have.
No, God, no. No.
We talked about this on the weekly draw on PW Unlimited, that Abaddon doesn't want a title. She doesn't want the shiny. It's like the Fiend. The Fiend shouldn't want a title. The Fiend should just want to mess shit up.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like chaos.
Hurt people.
Pain. And it's just, yeah, it goes a bit deeper than that for me. But like, yeah, I would have really liked to see Hikaru Shida wrestle like one of the many, many more appropriate matches for her right now. Like their division runs pretty deep enough that they could be putting together better programs. Like much more interested in the NWA women's title than this, and we've talked about this a lot. Sheeta's not a vampire, which was the only real interesting narrative way they could have taken this, but she also beat Abaddon, and this is her first real showcase. And it's like, how do you build a supernatural character who the makeup's on point, but the in-ring stuff, I don't, she's smaller. I don't buy it as like a presence. She doesn't seem like an imposing, unmovable force. So
there is room to have wrestlers come in, be big, have a major push that they get too big for their britches and they fall. Mm-hmm. That could be the story of Abaddon, where they bring her in. She's this vampire character. She takes bites out of people. And then next thing you know, she has a title match and she fails. Now she goes back into the darkness. She becomes bigger, badder, whatever you want to say. And she emerges a next tier badass. Does she want a title? I don't know.
No. Yeah. Like I think I've read some of her tweets and she seems really committed to this gimmick, which is fine. Like it can work. It's just, she'll have to recede a bit more for a little bit, retool this. Hopefully AEW gives her something that makes more sense. It's just, this was kind of odd. It all happened so quick, and now it's basic. Like it's over. There's nowhere for this to go. So,
yeah. We basically just talked our way through hits and rebook.
Yeah,
so
we absolutely did.
Let's talk about NXT.
Yeah, let's get there.
First of all, not having Fight Pit, that kind of sucked.
Bummer.
But makes a lot of sense. You got a takeover announced for February 14th, and they better call it St. Valentine's Day Massacre. It's on the table. But I don't think they wanted to announce it yesterday because of what was going on in the world.
Yeah, not the time.
I think they kind of held back. But I think it's going to be on the table. We'll probably see the announcement once they start getting into what the matches will be and what's going on there as the build. So I think Thatcher and Ciampa will be on that show instead of last night, which we saw. So
yeah, which is fine.
We're going to find out.
Whatever. I mean, it felt a bit sudden. I missed all of it because, like we talked about on Twitter, I didn't check Twitter until showtime.
Right. Idiots like me who spend most of their day being on Twitter. We saw what was going on, but the rest of the world doesn't always see it. Yeah. And then the world fell apart and everyone was like, "Whoa, what are we doing here?" But anyway, so how did you find the jaw for a jaw match for the NXT title?
It was good. It was a good match. It did not supersede the first match. Again, like I said, that's impossible. The expectation placed on this for me was very, very high. So it was good. It was very good. I enjoyed it. Wasn't my favorite match of the night, even by far. So
that's fair. And then they had a solid match. They were kind of outdone by, the fact that the Bullet Club was reuniting.
Oh, this is also the second time I want to say something. They've bit the rope twice now, and it's just like weird. It's not really necessary.
So this time they did the biting the rope and kicking it spot.
Yeah.
Which some people thought was Finn whiffing and not hitting the head. But no, he was going for the rope because he had the jaw. So, we'll go to Fightful for a real quick second. But during both commercials and immediately after his match with Finn Balor, trainers and doctors were checking on Kyle O'Reilly. He managed to finish the match, and they'll have more of an update as Fightful gets it. Wouldn't it suck if Kyle O'Reilly broke his friggin' jaw?
Well, that's like, okay, no. If Kyle O'Reilly broke his jaw, fine. Now you're doing the third one, and it's going to be in a fight pit or whatever they want to do.
Me a jaw for a liver.
If Finn comes back and breaks the other dude's jaw, that's got, narrative gold within it. It sucks for the wrestler, but You got pay dirt in there. You can make something of it, and it will raise Kyle's profile when he comes back. So like win-win ultimately, minus the pain in the middle. But yeah, it wouldn't be as bad as if Finn re-broke his jaw, which was a major concern for me going in there. Like,
and then Priest and Cross opened up the show. What did you think of Karrion Kross? What do you think of Damian Priest? There's a lot of Damian Priest news that's come out over the last 48 hours. Good news, good stuff. Interesting things. What did you think of the match?
I love Damian Priest. He sells so well, and I think he did what needed to happen for Karrion in this. Like, it was the right move, not pivoting him right to Finn, even though that was kind of the promo that he cut beforehand. Having him go against Priest to show that he could be just like a ruthless, dominant weirdo worked because Damian sells so well. Cross does not sell quite so well. And I think his style works best with people who are willing to work a little stiffer, which seems like Damian was. Like some of the kicks, some of the forearm stuff looked a little rough, which works for that style that is hard to get over. Like the strikers in WWE, I truly feel for them because like it's hard for me to care a lot of the times. Like I really like Aleister Black, but sometimes that stuff doesn't work. Like, you know, you do your kick punches, but you're not actually kicking and you're not actually punching, so it looks a little crummy. But I think Karrion looked good in this one. Still loves that Saito suplex like nobody's business.
Of course, that's his gimmick now. So here's the thing. With Damian Priest and Karrion Kross, the dynamic between the two is fine. The
height discrepancy?
I'm getting at the amount of time in the ring is a little bit different.
So
Cross has been in the business since about 2010, 2012, but even when he debuted with Impact, he wasn't having long matches. He was mostly seconding, at the time, Austin Aries, and then later on other people in Impact. He was never the main guy until the end of his run in Impact when he was trying to leave Impact. And then he comes into NXT, and I mean, he does MLW, and that's fine, but his matches weren't super long either. He's never gone the distance. He's never had to. A lot of his work is just what he does. And then with Damian Priest, it's almost the opposite. He is older, but when he got into the business, he went in like tenfold. He got in as Punishment Martinez. He had a huge stint in Ring of Honor, was very serious about his work, and it showed. And now he's in NXT, and he's done it again, where he's been working really hard on his craft, whereas Cross is just kind of like lucked into the gimmick that he's got.
I actually read Karrion Kaiser, his Wikipedia page.
Okay.
Today, which is something I don't normally do. I don't look at the backgrounds for a lot of these wrestlers, and I looked at his Wikipedia page because I was a little bit curious, and because he looks like an older guy, and I was like, is he young? Because he acts like a greenhorn in a lot of ways, and he's not. His career path seems to have been a lot of like, yeah, I'll bring you on, and then come like renewal time, it's like, we'll pass. And he's been like an enforcer for guys throughout the, like, which makes me nervous because they've given him a gold mine in terms of presence and character. I don't know who came up with it, but like, I'm assuming it was NXT developmental. His entrance is amazing. And Scarlett, who's also been rebranded, is like his biggest asset. But he's a hitman. Like, that's his character, is a hitman, and he's not a hitman in the ring. And it's like, this is difficult to reconcile.
Yeah, and that's what we're getting at. Cross in the ring versus Cross's entrance. Killer entrance, and then as Bruce Pritchard says, the bell rings. But he's still a very serviceable wrestler.
Yeah, that's not the whole bad. There are some scary like he took that Damian Priest rope dive directly on the shoulder that he just came back from an injury from. And I was like, oh,
he's a tough bastard.
I mean, Damian Priest ain't light, so like that, the full force of that man coming down on that like recently healed right shoulder is scary and like avoidable. Yeah. So yeah, like he was good in ring. I think he looked good with Damian, but I credit Damian for that, honestly. So I I'm curious to see how his career is going to go. And I have a sinking feeling that maybe they've created this amazing character and given it to the wrong guy. Because I feel like come renewal time, I don't know. I don't know if he's going to get it. We'll see.
Well, we did see one hell of a renewal in action between Raquel Gonzalez and Rhea Ripley in a last woman standing match. One hell of a match. Maybe it didn't need all the bells and whistles of doing last woman standing, but they ended up doing a real good job with it. They
awesome.
Went at it. Yeah. They
match of the night.
Putting someone through a door, through the glass of the door. Come on.
Dakota Kai in the road case, in the flight case.
Being
so
put
good.
into a locker. No, it was a great match. And you know what? Rhea Ripley being down and out. Maybe it's time for a little movement. Because PW Insider said today that the current belief is that last night's New Year's Evil broadcast was planned to be the final NXT appearances for both Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest, as we just talked about. And they will each be shifted to the main roster. Yep. While things can always change based on the wins of Vince McMahon, boy howdy, Priest lost to Karrion Kross and Rhea's lost to Raquel Gonzalez both devised the idea that this was the end of their NXT chapters.
Yeah, I felt it. I felt it when I was watching it. I was like, this is it for them. Nice. I mean, I say nice. Like, I'm still more excited about NXT every week. Like, I don't know. I hope it works out for them. I hope they make the other two programs better.
There is an overwhelming sense of dread of being moved up to the main roster because you see what happens. And unless you have a good rapport with the old man, you don't really get as far as you could. You have to be immediately liked. You can't do anything wrong. And you have to be willing to make that relationship with Vince McMahon. Otherwise,
Keith Lee is doing okay. He's in an okay place right now. They they screwed around with him a little bit, but he's gotten to a good place, I think. So
going to Keith Lee, actually, you're right. One thing that they were smart about is when they brought out Goldberg, no one remembered that Keith Lee lost that match.
Exactly, which is
so he's fine. On the Damian Priest front, WrestleVotes broke the story about Damian Priest, just saying some wrestler was supposed to debut on SmackDown this past week. Fightful later confirmed it on Select, saying today WrestleVotes noted that they had heard a potential NXT call-up that was set for this week to participate in the Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns storyline. We can't speak to the participation of the storyline, but they learned that it was Damian Priest who was going to be called up as of earlier this week. Damian Priest and Kevin Owens.
I'd like to see them. I wouldn't mind seeing them together. I don't know how they get there. I feel like the way they bring these people up is so clunky sometimes because, I don't know. Like, NXT viewership is strong enough that they should know that it's going to be an awkward transition to move them from one show to one brand to the next.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. Like Riddle and Keith Lee have found a place that transitioned pretty okay. So,
right. Rhea will probably end up on Raw, if I had to guess. The SmackDown Women's Division, we're going to talk about it, is a little. It's stacked, but they have no idea what they're doing. Yeah, with
absolutely.
It. So,
yeah.
Speaking of the women, the Dusty Women's Cup was announced. I'm very excited for that. The Dusty Rhodes was a tag team classic, Women's Cup. That's a mouthful. Hopefully, we get emphasis on the women's tag team titles. Hopefully, we can bring them to Wednesdays. And I've got some speculatory teams for you, Tim.
I'm sure some of them most people already know, but let's see.
Yes. Okay, Casey Catanzaro and Caden Carter. That's a no-brainer.
Makes sense.
If they're not there, I will be shocked, and many people will be appalled. Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell, otherwise known as The Way, Ember Moon, and Shotzi Blackheart.
Yep. That could work. Because they're going to want to keep Shotzi present. Ember doesn't have a thing. They want to keep her present because she just debuted. So, yeah, that seems like a good way to satisfy that.
I'm going to give you 3 names, and we're going to figure out which of the 3 are going to tag team. Dakota Kai, Raquel Gonzalez, Toni Storm.
See, okay, so, gut instinct, you'd want to knee-jerk reaction. You'd want to say Raquel, Dakota, right? But Raquel's going to get a push as a singles competitor. Probably get the title soon. She'll probably be facing Io next. So I would bank on Dakota and Toni over Dakota and Raquel.
I am in agreement.
Yeah.
Aaliyah and Melina. We saw Melina on Monday. We know that her knee is potentially back to normal. We know that she has some sort of deal. Maybe it's time we debut her with the Robert Stone brand, as was supposed to happen this past summer.
And an elegant way to introduce them, right? I think that's good.
And
like
also
Robert Stone can be like, Aaliyah, I've got you a partner.
Yeah. And especially since Melina was trending on social media with her appearance on Raw.
Nice.
That's a thing. So we'll do that. We're going to bring back Jessamyn Duke and Marina Shafir, assuming Jessamyn Duke has not or has healed from her surgeries. She had arm or elbow surgery. Regardless, she was out for a while. So Duke and Shafir, I would love to see them back for this. And I want to bring down the Riot Squad.
Yeah, you might want that. I don't know what's going to happen, though, because they had them doing that spot where they just watched the match on SmackDown, right? In the backstage.
Yeah. Well, we don't know when that women's Dusty Cup starts.
Oh. Okay.
It could be after the next takeover. But it looks like it'll be smaller than the other Dusty Cup, the men's Dusty Cup, which we'll talk about in a minute.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
I would think, again, I think that there are certain types of wrestlers who are just better suited to NXT, where they can be treated a little bit differently and handled a little bit better. So
you really want to mess stuff up, you do Xia Li with Karen Q, or the woman who is now her teacher.
Oh, the Predator.
The woman who sits on the throne. Yeah, Predator.
I looked up quickly, and it looked like...
Oh, we'll see. What do you think of Dexter Lumis as a host?
Yeah, it was good. I thought it was cute. I didn't mind it. I like Dexter Lumis
Chatterbox Dexter Lumis.
The intro was funny, where he's just like...
If you didn't get a chance to go back to WWE socials, they did a whole thing with Dexter fans asking questions, and Lumis drawing stuff, showed off his dogs, which was stupidly cute. He's like doing this stone face dead guy while these two tiny dogs are like in his arms, and he's just trying to like stone face, and they're just like
he's an really adorable serial killer.
Exactly. And you know what? Having him on commentary for the Gargano Lorraine Kushida Shotzi match, I think that was funny.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
And if he made the drawing, so it had to go. Like that's the way that the event was.
Yeah.
All right. And the Dusty Cup competitors for the men's side, we know now. I'm so used to saying Kyle O'Reilly. Adam Cole and Roderick Strong from Undisputed Era. Breezango, Grizzled Young Vets, Everrise, Gargano and Theory, also known as The Way. Legado del Fantasma, Walking Wild, and Raul Mendoza. It's pretty good. You got Drake and Dane.
Damn right.
That going on.
They had to.
And from 205 Live, August Gray, and number one contender for the Cruiserweight Championship for the last 4 months, Kurt Stallion. Where's that match?
Yeah, not happening.
People saying in the chat the Grizzly Young Vets are going to win.
Yeah, almost certainly. I like without it.
It's theirs to lose.
Yeah.
What if Gargano and Theory lose? If Gargano drops a North American Championship to Kushida before this starts, or while this is going, then they might win.
I give it to Breezango. Over and over again.
Yes.
I stand Breezango here. That's it.
I think that's it for NXT. Do we have anything else to go over?
There's one thing I want to mention. Like,
sure.
They're booking these pseudo pay-per-views, and it's kind of throwing me off because like I'm accustomed to a certain style, right? So like I feel like it might have been a better idea to push Zaya's return until next week. Like, I'm glad that it's over. Her entrance is awesome. She's got a cool new character. Debuting it on a pseudo pay-per-view is weird because it was a squash match in the middle of like a lot of pre-booked matches, which was odd to me. Threw me off.
Yeah, it felt a little odd, but at the same time, they couldn't keep pushing it off.
No,
they couldn't keep doing these
done,
back agains. And I think they thought that they were going to have a lot more faces, and they did. A lot more faces or eyes on their show. And it turns out they did, even though we know what was going on outside. The point being, it was the right time. It was just things played out very differently.
Yeah. The only thing I find funny for that
best match.
No, I mean, it's a quick squash. Like, she was training with like swords and stuff. If they let her use a bladed weapon, that'll give her an edge. Like, it's wrestling. I don't know. It's weird. It's a weird thing.
You know what? As we're getting low on time, let's just touch on SmackDown real quick.
Yeah.
First of all, Roman kills KO. Wonderful.
Yep. Great stuff. So
Poor
again,
bastard.
so
And
good. This got here so quick, and KO's in the main event, and I'm happy. And they're doing great because everything this Roman Reigns storyline touches seems to turn to gold.
Totally. That table spot where they brawl into the Thunderdome crowd, they hadn't done that yet. And I'm so glad that they finally had a chance to go out, brawl into the crowd, and then do the table spot. That was aces. Really enjoyed that. Speaking of really enjoying it, Sonya Deville's back.
Yes, great to see. Sooner
Shocked.
than I expected.
Sooner than everyone expected. I was listening to on Fightful, they do a Q&A behind the paywall with Sean Ross Sapp. Someone asked, hey, when's Sonya Deville coming back? And he's like, nobody knows. And they were like, it's going to be a while. And then what does she do? That Friday shows up. So it's pretty great. I'm excited to see what Sonya Deville does. I think it was the right way to bring her back too. Just have her walk the halls. Sure. Freak everyone out. Shout out to Big E, who was wearing a Bludgeon Brothers shirt in the background of that scene. I loved it. Speaking of Big E, sure, whatever. The tag team match was fine.
I was disappointed.
Better than the match with Corbin.
No, I didn't get my Corbin Big E match. I wanted it. Everyone hates on Corbin. I wanted that match. I didn't need this weird tag match. And if for my rebook, I think I would put Big E against somebody who isn't Apollo Crews. I feel bad for Apollo Crews. They keep throwing him at the mid-card titles in like a really clunky way. I think there's other competitors on SmackDown that make more sense for Big E right now.
I think it's got to start low and then move its way up. I know, but what are you going to do? You're going to have Cesaro go after Big E right away? He just lost last week. No, he just lost, and he's been losing for a while.
No, I know. Yeah, I know. There's a few.
May as well have a guy who doesn't have any stink right now.
Yeah.
Those two are going to have a good match, though. Apollo Crews, when he's motivated, can have excellent contests.
It's true. I just wish they'd give him an identity.
You know who has an identity and is the best? Billy Kay.
Yeah. Absolutely. My God.
The post-match interview that was on social media, by the way, where she goes and she's in the back, not just the one with Mackenzie Mitchell or Sarah Schreiber, whichever. They're both the same blonde woman. There's one where she goes to the back and talks to the Riot Squad and like tries to celebrate with them. And the Riot Squad are just like, oh, I think I hear my phone going off. I should go and answer. And it's just deadpan. Just walks away. Billy's just like, oh yeah, no, you go answer your phone. It should be all right. That's more of a British accent. But anyway, Billy Kay, great.
Well, okay. Here's a thought. They broke up the Iconics because Peyton was going to get a push. Where did we end up?
We talked about this.
Like this is so weird.
Billy was always going to be the one to get ahead because Billy was the one who had the most to gain. Yeah. Because no one expected her to do anything. And also she had the best comedic chops. She had the best timing. She was the actor of the two. She can work on her wrestling, sure.
But now they've paired up Peyton and Lacey for no reason. Like, why are they a team?
Because they realized what they had with Peyton wasn't exactly what they wanted yet.
It's weird that they didn't just know, being that she is their talent.
Fair. But you know who is talent? Bianca Belair continues to rise to the top, having great matches with Alexa, joining Sasha and Bayley and Asuka and Charlotte and even Carmella. And I know people will give me guff about Carmella, but the fact is she's been on that roster consistently on top of it since 2016. She's really doing good work. And so is Bianca Belair. She's in the right spot right now.
Yeah, that was a great
She can afford to lose a few. Yeah. She can afford to lose. There's no momentum lost. She's up there. She's doing it right. So the tag titles are on the line this week.
That's nice.
Yes, it is. And we already talked about Apollo and Big E in an Intercontinental Championship match. I think we got it, man. I think we did it. I think we did the week. My God. Tim, where can the kids find you?
Kids can find me at Tim Stone P, TIMBSTONEP on Twitter.
And you can find the show at Tim and Joel Pod. You can find us here on youtube.com/Tim and Joel Pod or timandjoelpod.com. Again, you can leave us some tip jar love anytime, any place. Doesn't matter if we're on the air or not. Streamlabs.com/Tim and Joel Pod. We'll always take your money and we'll always thank you for it. PW Unlimited, we do our weekly draw every single weekend. Usually it's around Sundays now, where the work goes up on PW Unlimited YouTube. And then we're in the chat and we're talking with everybody. Like this video, subscribe to it and to us on YouTube. And finally, once again, Fightful Gaming, twitch.tv/Fightful Gaming. You find me there. Sometimes Tim will pop up.
Yep. Yeah. Now and again.
Hey, Tim. And, yeah. And you can find me on all forms of social media at Joel Pearl. including Twitch, by the way. Please go and follow me on Twitch so I can get affiliate status because I need that so I can make some money. And until then, ladies, gentlemen, friends beyond the binary, enjoy your wrestling.